Hey guys, it's Kay. I hope you're all well. Now in today's video, I want to talk about the Raspberry Pi 4. So you've got one lying around and you might have tinkered with it, done a few projects, maybe a NAS drive, a streaming TV, heck even a retro gaming system. And if you're like me, you've put on various Linux distributions, Manjaro, Ubuntu. In fact, I've lost count, there's so many brilliant distros out there. And that's just the great thing about the Raspberry Pi. It's so popular, it generates so much interest. With hobbyists and tinkerers, there's never a dull moment. Now that's all fine, because these operating systems are great for doing work, and they do a great job of being used as a daily driver. But what if, like me, you want to play some proper games? Well, I'm happy to say, thanks to Konstakang.com, we can get the full Android experience on your Raspberry Pi 4, and that includes widgets, games, streaming, the whole bundle. Now this is all possible because you can amazingly install Google Play Store on the Raspberry Pi 4, and I've achieved this successfully on top of the Android installation. And as you can see, it all works pretty well and I haven't experienced any problems at all. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to install Android 11 on your Raspberry Pi. If you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with the latest tech tutorials, reviews and unboxings, I do everything including Fire Stick, Raspberry Pi and Android TV tips and tricks, so subscribe and hit the notification button. Okay, so you are now looking at Android 11 running on the Raspberry Pi 4 with 4 gigs of RAM and no overclocking. As you can see, it functions just like a phone. I've got multiple desktops and I can flip between each one. And if we swipe down on the menu bar, we can go into the settings, as you would with a mobile phone or tablet. And if we scroll down to the bottom, about tablet, it says Raspberry Pi 4. And if we look at the Android version, it's 11, and if we double click on it, we can see more details. So you can in fact see it is Lineage OS by Konstakang, and we do get the official badge. So taking a look around, you can see we've got the Google Play Store installed. And I can tell you it was a lot easier to install than previous versions of this installation. So let's do a quick search for File Manager, and I can show you around the file system. And I'm going to choose CX File Explorer. Now this install took around the same amount of time as a normal tablet. And as you can see, we're using 3.3 gig out of the total of 8 gig. And of course we've got access to widgets. Tap on the home screen and it will bring up the menu. Click on widgets and you get the selection of widgets. Now the selection of widgets obviously depends on the apps you've got installed. So I'll just add the clock face for this demo. Now I installed a couple of games, the first one being Angry Birds 2, and you'll see that I had no issues in controlling the game. The controls work perfectly well with just a mouse, and I'm using the Logitech wireless mouse. So you can see the game runs smoothly, no stuttering or pausing. And if you bring your mouse to the bottom of the screen, you'll get your menu buttons and you can go back to your home screen. Now the other game I installed was Skyforce, and that's the vertical scroller. And I must say I was very impressed with the graphics here, they all came through pretty well. And the sound effects were spot on. Now like I mentioned previously, there was no problem with controlling the game with the mouse. In fact, it's more precise than using your finger.
Weapon upgrade.
And of course, just like a tablet and phone, you can switch between apps. And it's a similar experience with web browsing. No stuttering, smooth scrolling, and again navigation, no issues with using the mouse. And playing videos on web pages is no problem at all. And it's all achievable with the built-in web browser. And it's the same story with video playback on YouTube, but this time I used a Mozilla browser to get the best performance. And video playback opens up at 720p as default, and playing back in full screen is no problem at all.
Do you even really want to? That's the question that I'm going to try to answer, and I've done videos about both of them. This sort of conversation starts to drum up again where...
And I was even able to bump it up to 1080p, and it all ran smoothly with no issues.
This is the first time anyone's seeing on camera the new NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3090.
Now getting this Android 11 installed on your Raspberry Pi is so quick and easy. Just head on over to the Konstakang.com website and click on the Lineage 18.1 link and download the zip file. Now on the webpage, if you scroll down, you'll see they've noted what's working and what's not working. And the great thing here is they've got audio working, Bluetooth, the camera, GPIO, GPS, Ethernet, and most importantly hardware accelerated graphics, and a whole host of other things. And the only thing they've noted that's not working is hardware video decoding and encoding, but software encoding and decoding does work. Now if you scroll down further, you'll see there's a couple of things to note. and that is how to boot to twerp recovery and also how to boot out of twerp recovery. Now the other thing he mentions here is how to install Google Apps. He says that BitG had a working version but it's no longer available. So I did a quick Google search and came across this Xiaomi website. Now if you scroll down to their download section, you'll see a whole bunch of GApp versions. I downloaded the ARM Android 11 version, release 17. Transfer this onto a USB drive, you'll be using it later. Okay, back on your computer, we need to transfer the Lineage zip file we downloaded from the webpage onto an SD card. And to do this, we're going to use a piece of software called Balena Etcher. Once you've opened it, click on Flash from File, and then navigate to where you downloaded the Lineage zip file. Click on the Open button, and then click on Select Target, and select the SD card which you've got plugged into your computer. And then simply click on the Flash button. And once it's completed right into the SD card, you'll get the following message. At this stage you need to remove the SD card from your PC and plug it into your Raspberry Pi and boot up. Now of course the first boot will take a bit longer than your normal boots, so just be patient. Once it's completed booting, you'll come to the following screen. Just click on the Next button. Click on the Accept button, and from here choose your language and click Next. Confirm your time and date and click Next. Location services, click Next. And on Lineage features, click Next. Protect your tablet, click on the Skip. Restore apps and data, skip. And the last one I promise, click on Start. So now guys, we are in Android 11 on the Raspberry Pi 4. But one minor thing, we don't have Google Apps. But don't worry, we're going to fix this. Now before we can install Google Apps, we need to get root access. So we need to go into Settings and scroll down to About Tablet. And then scroll down to Build Number, and then you need to click on it 5 times to gain access to the Developers menu. As you can see, it's counting down to accessing that Developers menu. And now I've enabled Development Settings. Now go back and click on the System, click on Advanced, and you'll see the developer options at the bottom. From here, scroll down to Rooted Debugging and enable it. Then head on back to the System menu, and then scroll down to Gestures. From here we need to click on the Power menu and enable Advanced Restart. This will enable us to reboot into recovery mode. Now from the home screen, click on F5 on your keyboard, which will bring up the power options. Then select Restart and Recovery, and the Raspberry Pi should reboot into recovery mode. You'll then see the TeamWin logo. From here, swipe to allow modifications. Now click on Install. Now if you plugged your USB drive that contains your GApps that you downloaded earlier into your Raspberry Pi, you'll see the GApps zip file here. Just click to select it, and then just swipe to confirm the flash. Now this shouldn't take longer than a minute. Then just click on Wipe Dalvik, and then just swipe to wipe. Once that's done, click on the arrow icons on the top left hand corner, and that'll take you back to the main menu. From here, click on Wipe, and then swipe to Factory Reset, and again click on the arrow icons in the top left hand corner, go to the main menu. From here we need to click on Mount, and make sure you've got Boot and System and Data and USB ticked, and then just head on back to the main menu. And now from here click on Reboot, and then finally click on System. Now this will eventually reboot you back into Android. And like before, we just repeat the process to get onto the main Android screen. And that's it guys, we are into Android, and we can see we've got the Play Store here, where previously we didn't have anything. Now of course you need to sign into the Google Play Store before you can use it, and it's just going to guide you through logging in, like any other Android device. And once you've provided your username and login password, it'll log you in. And that's it guys, you're into Android 11 on the Raspberry Pi with the full Google Play Store. Enjoy! And once again guys, if you enjoyed this video or found it useful, give us a like or maybe even a subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.